Good afternoon. Welcome everybody to Craven College Catering Cookalong, which today we are doing some vegan food today, some vegan barbecue food. Okay, so I hope you're going to enjoy today and what we're going to be cooking. My students, if you're watching, just keep your eye on these techniques that we're using today, okay, and practice over the summer. Okay, I want to see you add into the cooking diaries you've been doing, and I'll be looking forward to looking at those when you send them in to see what sort of things you've been cooking. Okay, and we can share those on our Facebook page and also on our Instagram page, all the things you've been doing, which would be great. Okay, so today what are we doing? We're doing vegan barbecue. So if we just have a little pan down to have a little look. Okay, so across on this side we've got some jackfruit. Okay, jackfruit in water. Well, both in water. We've got jackfruit which is in whole pieces here, which is what we're using today, and this jackfruit, which I've not opened, is actually already pre-shredded. Okay, these are all my other ingredients here. We've got some nice cider apple vinegar here, some tomatoes, some onion, some chili flakes, some smoked paprika to give it a bit of flavour, and also some barbecue sauce. Okay, so on this side we have our ingredients that we're going to use for our bean burgers. Okay, so we've got some chickpeas and some kidney beans. We've got some pepper, garlic and red onion there to actually mix in with it. Some breadcrumbs, which is just going to bind it all together. And then on this side we've got what we're going to actually serve it with. So my pulled pork we're going to serve with some little cherry tomatoes and some avocado. That one's nice and ripe, nice and soft. And we're going to just serve this with some beef tomato and some nice lettuce leaves. Okay, so jackfruit, what is it? Some of you won't be familiar with jackfruit. Okay, it is an enormous, great big fruit. It's anything from 30 centimetres up to, well, they can grow up to about a metre. It's the largest fruit you can get, which actually grows on a tree. It's part of the fig family. So they grow huge, very, very big. This example we've got here is unripened, so it's not ripe, so it's still quite hard, because what we want it to be able to do when we cook it, we want it to be a bit like pork, so we'll be able to shred it with a fork when it's actually cooked. So it's got that same sort of texture, and the flavour, it hasn't got a huge amount of flavour when it's not ripe. So that's why we've got all these flavours to put in there. When it is ripe, it's actually a lot sweeter, and it's got a texture that's similar. It's like a cross between a sort of a pineapple and a mango, really, I suppose the best way to describe it. It's lovely, really, really, really refreshing. Its taste is almost a little bit like juicy fruit chewing gum, for those of you who remember that. So the underripe that we've got now is basically, as I say, will be really good for using for this pulled pork dish, or pulled vegan pork style dish. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by preparing my jackfruit. Get this cooking. This needs probably at least half an hour to get it soft. Okay, the longer you leave it, the better it will get. Okay, so what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to do what I always do. Sharpen my knife. Okay, go through a couple of times there. Okay, give it a little wipe on here to take any little fragments off. Okay, and now nice and sharp. Okay, so I've got a couple of very small onions here, which is why I'm using 2 and not 1. So again, I'm just taking the top off, and we're leaving, as we always do, the root on. Okay, which is going to make it easier to chop it. Okay, so now I'm going to peel them. When we've peeled them, we're just going to chop them. Okay, now when we've chopped onions before, we've done slices, we've done a fine dice. Today, we're not bothered about a very fine dice, okay? because I want a little bit of texture in this dish. So all I'm going to do with this actually is just to slice them. Okay, so when I've got my onion down to this, all I'm going to do is, the technique we remember is the claw. Okay, I'm going to get the claw on, I'm going to keep the point of my knife on the board, and I'm going to just rock that knife down. Okay, so I'm just going to be left with a little bit of root at the end there. Okay, just going to do that with all these little bits of onion. It's all about control the knife. Okay, a nice sharp knife, and we're going to control what we're doing with it. Okay, we can hear that knife going through, it's very sharp. Okay, I'm not looking up from what I'm doing, I'm keeping my head down and concentrating on what I'm doing. Okay, I'm not looking at the camera because I need to focus on this. Okay, so into my pan, I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. Okay, that's gone into there. I'm now going to put my onions in. Okay, so if we just have a little look at this in here. So all I'm going to do with this now is just to let these cook just for a couple of minutes, okay? Just to start softening up. Okay. Now if we just come back over here. So what I've said about this is it's quite, the jackfruit is not a lot of taste to it, not a lot of flavour to it, so that's why we're going to put it all in there. This nice barbecue flavour coming through, which is why we've got the vinegar here, the barbecue sauce, and we've got our chili flakes, our smoked paprika. I've also got a cinnamon stick in there, which is again going to really help with those flavours. I'm also going to put some water into this, okay, because we want some volume in there. We want it to be able to cook down on a low heat, nice and slow, to break this jackfruit up, okay? So when eventually I get all these ingredients into the pan, I'm going to put the lid on it, and it's going to just bubble away quietly. While it's doing that, we're going to be making our beef burgers, okay? So, this has just started to soften these onions up now. For another couple of minutes, okay? So what I'm going to put in is I'm going to put my cinnamon stick in, okay? I'm going to put in, this is up to you with your chili flakes, okay? Do you like it spicy? Don't you like it spicy? Okay, chili flakes are actually quite hot, okay? You don't need a lot, okay? So I'm just going to put about half a teaspoon in there, which I think will be absolutely plenty. Okay, and into that I'm also going to add a couple of teaspoons of smoked paprika. Okay, because I really like that flavour. Okay, now we could use fresh chilies if you wanted. I've actually got on the other side of the kitchen, I actually have a fresh chili plant, which I'm just going to get and show you. Okay, so this chili plant has been, it's about its second or third lots of chilies now. Can you see them here? Okay, so you pick them off and we just keep it on the windowsill and it keeps growing and they're absolutely delicious. So they're not quite there yet with those, which is why I've not used them today. But fresh chili plant in a nice sunny place in your kitchen, lovely. So I've got some flavours in there now, working away with the onion. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is going to add my vinegar. You can hear that sizzling up. I'm now going to add my tomatoes. It's all in there and starting to smell nice and lovely in there. You can start to smell those flavours coming through. I am going to add my jackfruit. Okay. There's some quite big lumps of jackfruit in there. Okay. And I'm going to add my water into that, and also my barbecue sauce. Okay, that's all going to add to those flavours into there. So we can see that at the moment. Okay, that doesn't look too appetising at the moment, but give it time. Give it time to allow all those flavours to develop together, and we can smell it. We can start to smell to be absolutely wonderful. That's all going to go nice and thick and gelatinous and beautiful. We can start to smell those flavours coming through now. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid on that. I'm going to pop that onto the back, and we're just going to make sure it brings up to the boil. When it comes to the boil, we're going to turn it down, okay, because we don't want it catching on the bottom. Okay, so the only thing I haven't added to that is a little bit of salt and pepper, a little bit of seasoning. So we're just going to add a little bit of that in now. So nice bit of Maldon salt we can squish between our fingers, and a nice little teaspoon of pepper, just to give it some more flavour in there. I like lots of pepper in my food. Okay, so that's going to quietly just cook away. Okay, so part one done. The jackfruit is up and running. Okay, now part two. We do notice, by the way, on my board that I've got the my cloth on the back to stop it slipping about. Okay, so my mise en place is all done and all ready. Okay, next part of the dish, or the next dish, we're going to be looking at our bean burgers. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is I need to soften up my pepper and my onion and my garlic. So into a pan with a little bit of oil in, I'm going to soften these up. Okay, so onion, the same way. I'm going to take the top off. Okay, nice solid base. I'm going to use my bridge and go right down the middle. Okay, into my bits bowl. I'm going to peel it. Peel both of these halves. Now, these onions, I want these to be smaller bits of onion because I don't want great big chunks of onion in my finished burgers. Okay, so we're going to take these a little bit smaller. So what we're going to do with these is to chop them. So we've got the root end down at that end. I've got my claw on here, and I go right down to the board, but I'm not going to go all the way through. So we're still attached to the rear of the onion there. I'm then going to come through this way a couple of times. Okay, and now I'm going to have a nice fine dice. Okay, so you can see how that is going round to the edge of the onion to the root. Okay, we've now got a nice fine dice, okay, which will be lovely. That will disappear into the burger. I'm going to do exactly the same for this one. Nice fine dice. So we don't necessarily need any texture on these when we're cooking them. We just need them to be softened up. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this on. Hang on. While I'm over here, I'm just going to check. You can see that started to bubble now. All those flavours are going to start to work now. A little look in there. Okay, there's some really lovely aromas coming off that now. So, I've got my pan on. I'm now going to put my onions into that pan. Okay, into that I'm going to put some garlic. Okay, so I'm going to just snip the ends off the garlic. There's various ways of doing garlic. Okay, like I said before, some chefs like to smash their hand on it and break it up, and then we peel it. I'm just going to take both ends off, and I'm just going to peel it like that. Okay, so we're left with just a piece of garlic. Okay, same with that. We're just going to take this little coat off. Okay, and we're left with your piece of garlic there. Okay, all my bits and pieces straight into my bits bowl there. Okay, so we're keeping working nice and tidy all the time. When we're in the kitchen, we always need to concentrate and focus on working really nice and neat and tidy. Okay, now I'm going to squash down to both of these, and now I'm going to use my claw. Again, I don't want a paste for this. We can turn this into a paste, but I want some nice little pieces of garlic in there. So what we can do when we've got it to this is we can either grip the end of the knife like this, or with a flat hand, not a bunched hand. If we've got a bunched hand and the knife slips, we're going to cut ourselves. Okay, so a nice flat palm, or we're holding it like that, and we're just going to go. Nice, even, but we're getting some little lumps still of garlic in there. It's going to add a little bit of texture into there. Okay, I can take that down a little bit finer. Just my flat hand, fingers out of the way. Okay, I'm now going to add that to my onions into the pan. Okay, you can see this across here. Now, I don't want to have, as I say, too much colour on this, so I'm going to make sure that that is a nice low heat. Okay, you can start to see that now. Mixing up. Okay, we can see that's a nice evenness between the garlic and the onion on the sizing. Okay, we're now going to have a look at our jackfruit and give it another little bit of a stir. Okay, every little stir is going to help that to break up a little bit. Okay. So, we're now going to do a pepper. Okay. So again, as we've done before, we are going to just cut straight through. We're going to take the seeds out of the middle. A little tap on your hand there to get those little seeds out from the middle. Okay, there we go. Seeds up there as well. I'm just going to pull stalk out. Okay, so now we're left with pepper. Okay, now what we want with this, we need to cut it in half. We need to cut it in half again. We want some nice smaller pieces. Okay, so again I'm using my claw. It's a nice sharp knife. You can always tell how sharp your knife is when you come to cut a pepper skin side out like this, because if it's sharp it should go straight through without too much problem. Okay, so I'm just dicing it the other way now, so we're going to end up with some smaller pieces pepper. Okay. We don't want great big lumps because we want it to disappear. We want a little bit of texture. But we don't want great big lumps that aren't going to cook. We want this to cook nice and evenly. Okay? I'm just going through with the other half of the pepper. So, I've got my claw on there, the thumb is out of the way. If you can see my thumb here, look. See the angle of the knife on my finger, and my thumb is tucked right out of the way. Okay? If your thumb's out of the way, you aren't going to cut it. Okay? I'm just going to come this way now. I'm going to take it into smaller pieces. Little bit. The top, we try not to cut down. Always a sign of a good chef also is how little waste they make. Okay, we make sure we use everything that we can. Okay, and now I'm going to put that. All we're doing is we are just softening this up, okay? Because we don't want hard lumps in the burgers. Okay, we want a little bit of texture in there, so we don't want them going away to absolutely nothing. But we're just going to just cook these until they soften up a little bit. So I can smell the garlic now coming off this. I'm also going to have a look at my jackfruit while I'm over here. We always used to keep an eye on this, keep it stirring away. Okay, so that feels quite firm still, that jackfruit. So the more we stir it, the more that's going to help that to break up. Okay. The lid's going back on to that. Okay. So, I'm just going to slide my chopping board out of the way a little bit. And we're going to have a look at putting together our burgers. Okay, so the one last bit we're going to add into our burgers in just a minute is our coriander. Okay, but basically we have red kidney beans, okay, which are going in there. We've got our chickpeas, which are going in there. Okay, so that is a lovely basis. Okay, I've drained both of these. Now, here's an interesting thing. With your chickpeas, if you save the juice from your chickpeas, you can actually use that to make meringues. Okay, whip it up in exactly the same way as you whip egg whites up. It takes a little bit longer, so if you've got an electric whisk it'll be better, or use the machine over here, but they do make very nice meringues. Okay, so give that a try. So what I'm going to do now is, while this is still softening up over here, just turn that up a little bit. Again, with all food, it's all about flavour. Okay, flavour. So all I'm doing with this coriander is I'm just getting in a nice big bunch. I'm not bothered about cutting it very, very fine, but it's all in a nice big bunch, so that will just chop up nicely. So we can hear that going through. And now, because you've chopped it, you get a lovely, lovely smell coming off that. Okay. So flavour in anything will not just happen. Okay, you've got to make flavour happen. Okay, so we know we've got some coriander in there. All right. We know also that we've got some garlic in the pan happening over here. What else am I going to put in? I'm going to put a few little chili flakes in this. Not a lot, just a few, little sprinkle. Okay. And I'm also going to put in some smoked paprika again. Okay, this is a lovely depth of flavour to this. It's not that hot, it just gives you a nice, lovely depth of flavour in there. Okay, you can really smell it, it's a little bit stuck in the bottom there, so I'm just going to give it a bash. Okay, so what else am I going to add in there? I'm going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. Okay, it's all about the flavour. I'm just checking over here my pan. Okay, we've got a few things happening now. Got my peppers, red onion, garlic just softening there. I've got my jackfruit over here, still just cooking away. I'm getting some lovely now smells coming out. You see that sauce in this is just starting to thicken up now. Okay, we want that really thick and glutinous by the end. Okay, now I don't want that cooking too quickly, so I'm going to make sure that's turned fairly low. Okay, peppers are cooking quite happily there. So what I'm going to do now is put a little cloth under my bowl. Okay, I'm going to get a potato masher. Okay, old school potato masher. I'm going to just start mashing these. Okay, you can do this in a blender, okay, but you run the risk in the blender of just making it into basically a mush, okay, which is fine if that's what the texture you're looking for. I like a little bit of texture in those beans still. Okay, so you can see it coming through. Look, we've still got some larger bits of bean in there. Now there's a lot of juice coming out of there, if you can see. Now obviously a classic sort of something you use to bind burgers together when you make them is an egg, which obviously we can't use now as this is vegan. So there's enough moisture in there, and we're just going to put a few breadcrumbs in there as well. Okay, so I'm now going to into that add my lovely peppers. And my garlic and my onions. Okay, so we just have a little look at that in the bowl. So I'm just giving the pan a quick wipe out with some kitchen roll, because I'm going to use that same pan to cook the bean burgers in when we come around to cooking them. Okay, so you see that's all beautifully mixing up now. Look at the colours in that, it's absolutely lovely. You get all those flavours in there. Okay, you use some breadcrumbs, which will just help to bind it together and stop them falling to bits. Okay, so that's nicely coming together now. The bit that's coming up now, we're going to get our hands dirty. Okay, so we're going to make sure all the breadcrumbs are mixed in with all that. So can you see all that is mixing together? That looks absolutely lovely. Okay. What I'm going to do while I'm over here is I'm just going to have another quick stir of my jackfruit. You see that, look, some of this jackfruit is now starting to break up. Okay, some of it's quite solid still, but we can see the pieces here starting to break up. Look, that's what we're looking for. Okay, we want it nice and broken up. So I'm going to use a couple of forks to actually help this along its way when we get towards the end. Okay, some lovely fluffy smells coming off that again. Okay, so you can see here we've got a plate with some greaseproof paper on it where I'm going to put my burgers on. I'm going to try and get probably about 4 out of this, I think. Nice big patties, look at the lovely colours in there. That coriander gives it that bit of flavour, but it also gives it a lovely colour. If we want a little bit of flour on our hands just to stop it sticking, we can do that as well. Put some flour there to stop that. But try and form it now into a nice patty, a nice shape in your hand. And what we're trying to look for here is trying to make sure that that's an even thickness. Okay, we don't want it very, very fat in the middle. Okay, we want that to cook evenly all the way through. Okay, so a nice even thickness. Okay, and for the second one. And to roll it around nicely into my hand again. A nice even thickness. This is the third one. Okay, so we make them roughly the same size. Okay, you can use the flour if you want. I'm actually trying not to. Okay, and then the final one. With all this lovely beany goodness off the side of the bowl. Okay. Go. Now, if we just have a little look at those, that there is 4 lovely burgers. I'm just going to quickly wash my hands over here while I go along at those burgers. And then we're going to have another look at the jackfruit in a second and give that another stir to make sure that's all alright. So, the other key to doing any kind of cooking, okay, we're going to have another look at this, is timing, is making sure that things are all ready at the same time. Okay, can we see this? Can we see the texture on this jackfruit here? Look, it's just starting to shred itself. Look, it's starting to break up. Okay. There's my cinnamon stick in there, giving it that added flavour. Okay, so that's really starting to work nicely now. Okay, so I'm just helping it along its way with my wooden spoon there, helping to squish it down a little bit. Okay, helping to encourage it to break up. Okay. So that's it. I'm just going to put the lid back on it again and let those flavours develop a little bit more. Okay, so we've got our jackfruit is cooking away. That's probably about 5 or 6 minutes off. We've got our burgers done. Okay, we now need to start our burgers off cooking, and then we need to look at how we are going to present our burgers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pan back on. So it's the same pan I used to fry my onion and garlic in, and pepper, because you've got that flavour, that lovely patinated flavour in that pan already. Okay, a little bit of olive oil in the bottom there. Okay, and I'm just going to wait for that to heat up. Right, rule of frying. We all know this. When you fry anything, get your pan to the correct temperature before you put what you're frying in. Okay, don't put it into a cold pan because it will stick. Okay, you put it into a hot pan with oil in it, and when you put it in, you leave it. Okay, if you start doing the chefy thing like I said to you last week, and messing with your pan, okay, which looks a bit showy and great, but it's going to stick. Okay, so you've got to put it in the pan and let the pan do its business, which is to form a lovely little crust underneath the bottom of your burger, which will be nice and crispy and brown, and it won't stick. Okay, if you try and move it too soon, then it is going to stick on the bottom of the pan. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just to let that warm up a little bit, so it's on kind of a medium sort of heat. Okay, and do that. So while that's just warming up, we've got basically our burger is going to be with a couple of slices of nice beef tomato. I'm going to pin it together with a couple of cocktail sticks with some lettuce, and I'm going to put the jackfruit into a bread roll with some avocado and some sliced tomatoes as well, and maybe a little bit more barbecue sauce if you'd like. Okay, so this pan is now coming up to heat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 of these burgers. You can hear that sizzle as it goes in. Now I'm just going to cook 2 of these. It's absolutely fine if you want to cook these the day before. I can put these 2 in the fridge. They'll be absolutely fine. You can actually freeze them if you like as well, but I'm just going to put these in the fridge. We'll probably have these tomorrow. Okay, so you don't need to cook everything all at the same time. Okay, so those in there. Now, temptation is to start shaking your pan. Okay, start messing with it like that. Don't. Trust me, leave it alone. Okay. While we are here though, we can have a little stir of this pan. Okay, now we can see that. Can we see the jackfruit now starting to really break up in there? And that sauce is now starting to go lovely and thick. Okay, so I'm just helping it on its way by giving it a little stab. Okay. Jackfruit's coming on nicely. Okay, so I'm now going to. So we might not need to do too much work with that, with the fork, because that's breaking up beautifully. Okay. We want that really nice and thick. Okay. So my beans are cooking in my pan. I'm really tempted to start messing with it, but I'm not going to. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is avocado. Right. Okay. It's a bit tricky with avocados now because. What you'd normally do in a supermarket is to give it a little squeeze to see if it's soft. We can't be doing that now really, so it's a bit of guesswork. If it is underripe, you need to leave it for a few days before you can use it. So I'm just going right round in half, okay, till we get our avocado completely cut in half. Okay, that's very ripe. The stone has just dropped out of that, okay, which is very handy. I'm now going to use a spoon just to work right the way around it. Okay. Okay, this will go brown if you don't use it fairly quickly. Okay, so that's just come out in one, which is lovely. And that's 2. Okay. So, if my stone was still in there, I would be just hitting it with a knife and twisting it out. Okay, put it on the side and just twist it out. It comes out really very easily. Okay, so that's my avocado out and done. What I'm also going to do on here is I'm going to slice these tomatoes. Okay, we're okay on this board because this board has only been used to cut vegetables on. Okay, so we're absolutely fine. So what we're going to do is to make sure those are in nice little slices. We don't want big lumps, so we need to slice our tomato up. I'm just taking it into slices. Nice sharp knife, again, makes a world of difference when you're trying to do this. Okay, so that's what's going onto my rolls. And for This I'm just taking, not too thick, a couple of really nice, generous slices of beef tomato. Okay, that's going to go onto this one. Okay, so I now have my lettuce here, my rolls here for this one. Okay, all ready to receive the finished dish. Okay, so what I'm going to have a look now, I'm going to have another look at my old jackfruit. Okay, that's really starting to thicken up beautifully. Now, if we want it to thicken up a bit quicker, or to go a little bit thicker, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the lid off that now. Just let that evaporate off a little bit for that sauce to go thicker. Okay? What I'm going to do now is just very carefully turn it. You can see the underneath of that. Beautifully brown. Okay? There we go. Always make sure when you've got a pan on the heat that your pan is actually, it's a very simple thing, but it's right on the middle of the heat. Okay, if it's off to one side, then obviously what's on this side here now is not going to be getting any heat. Okay, so you need to make sure that that pan is as close to the middle of the heat as you can get it. Okay, so what are we going to do now? We hopefully are going to start assembling the dishes in a little minute or two, so we're going to give that another couple of minutes just to finish off. We're going to have another look at our jackfruit, which has been cooking for about 40 minutes now. See how thick that's got now. What I'm going to actually do now is to take my cinnamon stick out. Okay, we can discard that. Give that another 2 minutes. See how lovely and thick that's got. Okay, what I'm going to do now is to get a little bit of a teaspoon and have a little taste. Okay, so we know what this happens at this point. We taste it to say, do we need to adjust this seasoning? Okay. Oh my word, that's nice. So I think that is lovely. I don't think that is anything. I think it's got a real spike of chilli I can taste in there. Okay, but it's got that lovely warmth that the barbecue sauce is giving it as well. So, we just pan back to the saucepan here, just have a little look. Okay, we can see that now. There's still some bigger lumps in there. Okay, what I'm going to do, just to finish it off, I'm going to leave my burgers cooking still on that nice low heat. I'm going to take my jackfruit off. Okay. What I'm going to do with this is have a look in here, look. You can literally take 2 forks and we can just, these bigger lumps here, we're just going to shred it. Okay. Sorry if that's scraping on the bottom of the saucepan. That'll be going right through your teeth. So can we see how that is just shredding nicely, beautifully now? Okay. We don't want any lumps in this. We want it all to be beautifully shredded. Okay. We can find the occasional bigger lumps here, look, there's a bigger one there, but see when we start to shred it, you see the texture of that? It looks very like pork, it's very strange. Okay, so we're going to keep just going, there's a couple more bigger lumps in here, we're just going to shred those out. Nearly there. Okay. You're going to end up with lovely shredded jackfruit. Okay. There we go. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some of this onto my rolls. Okay, if you like, if you think it hasn't had long enough yet, if you think it needs a little bit more shredding, or needs to cook a bit longer, then cook it for a little bit longer. Okay, so you can be sure that you've got all those lovely flavours and all those lovely shredded jackfruit there is ready to eat. Okay. So all I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to take a couple of little pieces of avocado onto the top there, a couple of little pieces of tomato, a couple of yellow pieces, and a couple of red pieces, okay, just for colour. And now I'm just going to finish off our burger. Okay. Take our burger. So, okay. Now, just to finish this off, I'm just going to put a little bit of barbecue sauce on there. Put a slice of this. I'm going to put a lovely piece of lettuce just on the top. And there we go. Okay. So what you have there is chickpea and bean burgers, okay, with a bit of barbecue sauce and beef tomato and some lettuce, okay. You can use that in rolls as well if you like, or we can use it in some flatbreads, whatever you've got. And this is our pulled jackfruit with avocado and tomatoes. It smells absolutely wonderful, so I'm really looking forward to getting involved with some of this now for my lunch. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that. I'm just going to turn my fan off because it's quite noisy. There we go. Hope you guys have enjoyed that, enjoyed cooking it and enjoy eating it, okay, because you'll probably have enough for another meal there of your jackfruit if there's only two of you, and certainly another couple of burgers, okay. So thank you for watching. Please, as usual, upload any of your finished pictures to of your finished dishes to the Instagram account, okay. Share them with us. We'd love to see what sort of things you're doing, okay, and I hope to see you again at some point fairly soon. Thank you very much for watching.